If you know how to practice properly, developing a high quality forehand is a relatively simple process. It takes some time because you have to do enough repetitions to develop new habits, but it's a very step-by-step process where every time you go out on court and practice your forehand, you get a little bit better and a little bit better until eventually you can hit high quality shots with confidence on a regular basis in matches. This is exactly what I've done recently myself. Now, I'm naturally a right-handed player, but unfortunately I've injured myself, so I've had to switch to playing left-handed and relearn how to play again. And it was definitely very frustrating at the start because I wasn't able to play in the way that I used to be able to play with my right hand, but I followed this step-by-step approach, and within a few years I got to the point where I'm at now, where I'm able to confidently hit high-quality forehands. Unfortunately, most players never develop the sort of forehand that they really want to be able to hit, in large part because they just don't practice in the right way. Now, there's a number of different mistakes that players can make in their practice that hold them back, but there's one mistake that creates more problems than anything else, and that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. But before I do, I want to let you know about a full practice program that I've created for you to show you the step-by-step process that I use to develop my strokes and get to the point I'm at now with my left hand. If you're interested in learning about that, the link is in the description. So the biggest mistake that players make within their practice is focusing and trying to work on things that are too advanced for them at the moment. A lot of players are trying to copy what the pros do, and they're focusing on things like the way they create the racket lag and how they bring the racket through to contact. And although the contact point is obviously very important, and although racket lag is a key feature of how elite players create power on their forehand, it's not necessarily the thing that most people should be focusing on, because most players have got more fundamental problems. Using my left-handed journey as an example, I spent the first 2.5 to 3 years focusing almost exclusively on the way I prepared, making sure that I could do a high-quality unit turn and making sure that I could do a unit turn as I was using the appropriate footwork, and really importantly, the spacing and positioning, where I set up in relative to the ball. Because until I got those things right, it was impossible for me to create the racket lag in the way that I wanted to and to get that optimal contact point and hit the ball efficiently. But this is a problem I see time and time again. And unfortunately, I think a large part of the blame has to fall on coaches. I can't tell you the amount of videos that I've watched where coaches are showing exactly how to create the racket lag and talking about really advanced concepts. But when you go to parks, you go to clubs in whatever country you're in, you'll see that most players have really fundamental problems with their strokes. So it's really important for you to understand that tennis shots are cycles. They're sequences of events. It starts by recovering after your previous shot. That's a really important thing that a lot of players get wrong. You then have to do a split step at the right time so that you're landing just after your opponent makes contact, so then you can react off the ground and start to prepare quickly. And your preparation includes a good quality unit turn and then the footwork. And then it's really important to set up in the right position relative to the ball. A lot of players just get way too close to the ball and it prevents them from using optimal biomechanics. And then the next key piece is going to be when you actually start your swing relative to the flight of the ball. And again, this is a huge challenge for players. A lot of players are starting their swing too late, so they don't have enough time to actually create the racket lag in the way that they need to. Only then do you create the racket lag and swing through to contact. So you have to go through your stroke, you have to analyze it like this and understand what your underlying problem is. What's the first thing that's going wrong in your shot cycle? Are you recovering properly? Are you split stepping? Are you doing a good quality unit turn? And it's common for players to do unit turns when they're practicing shadow swings, or maybe when they're working with a really easy feed from the coach, but then when they're pushed out wide, when they're moving back, when they're moving to short balls, they don't actually get a high quality unit turn and they're not getting their feet set up in the right position. So the best advice that I can give you is to record yourself, preferably playing points or playing a match, so you can watch it back and you can see exactly what it is that you're doing. Focus on the first thing that's going wrong and then prioritize that within your practice. Now, yes, as you're working on your preparation or your spacing or whatever the thing is, you are in the back of your mind going to be thinking about the rest of your swing, but you have to evaluate your performance on the underlying problem. And as you do that over and over again, you start to develop new habits. And when you layer one habit on the next habit, on the next habit, eventually you get to the point where you just do all the stuff automatically, and then you're able to hit a high quality forehand without thinking about it. So that's the way that you want to approach improving your forehand. It really is a step-by-step process. Just understand that it takes time to accumulate enough repetitions to develop new habits, but if you can have the patience to do that, keep on working at the underlying problems, eventually you'll get to where you want to be. The only time where you're not going to be able to hit a forehand in the way that you want, even if you're practicing correctly, is if there's some kind of physical skill or limitation that's preventing you from hitting a high-level forehand. So depending on your goals and your motivation within tennis, that's something you also might want to explore and try and address. If you'd like to learn about that side of things, one of the big things that I do with players is I teach them how to use brain-based training to improve their skill. So they can react faster, read the flight of the ball better, so they've got greater coordination, so they can sequence their kinetic chain better, and really all of the underlying skills that go into letting you use and implement different types of techniques. So I've got a class that's going to teach you all about that, and the link to that's going to be in the description as well. Okay, hopefully this video has been useful for you. If you've got any questions about applying these concepts, leave them down below. I try and respond as quickly as I can. Otherwise, thanks for watching. It's much appreciated. If you give me a thumbs up, that really helps me out. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, that helps me out as well. Okay, catch you next time.